All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Three the Hard Way. This is the first official episode. We're back. My name is James. As you all know, I'm here with Denise and John. What's up, y'all? How y'all been?
What up, what up? I'm good.
Wow.
Just had a Jameson hot chocolate.
That's a crazy mix of Jameson and hot chocolate.
It's pretty fire. I was telling John about it.
I'm pretty sure it puts you to bed right away.
Yo, I swear after this, I might just take a nap or go to sleep. Like sleep.
Shit, a nap right now, you're not going to go to sleep until like 4 or 5 in the morning. All right, so last week we left off on our ESPN's top 100 list. We left off at 25. Denise, you want to kick us off with the remainder of the list?
Yeah, so we have, it's so funny. I rolled it up and then I hit the mouse, so it scrolled all the way back up. All right, so at 25, we have Kyrie Irving, and we spoke on him last time, so we'll just run it through and go to 24, Pascal Siakam. So we talked about it a little earlier off camera. It just doesn't make sense how he comes before someone like a Kyrie, how he comes before some of these players that are a little lower in the ranking. I think he's a little overrated. He came in at 22 last season. So he kind of stayed pretty consistent in the rankings. But what do you guys think?
I personally think that Pascal Siakam, and I mean no disrespect to you, John, because you said Chris Middleton was the most overrated player in the NBA. I think that's Pascal Siakam. I think he's grossly overrated. He had a great year with Toronto, the year that they went to the finals and they won. But that's because he was, like, I guess, the third option on that team behind Kawhi and Kyle, maybe fourth, depending on how Van Vliet was playing in some of those days. But Pascal Siakam, like, now that we saw that Kawhi isn't there anymore, I feel like he got exposed this year, especially offensively. And him being limited offensively, creative-wise, it showed a lot this year. So I don't know how he got better in the rankings this year, but I don't understand that. So
yeah, and I agree with you. And obviously, I think my initial reaction to the Chris Middleton thing is just where he was at that current time when we were having this conversation. But now I Pascal Siakam is so far down off my list that I didn't even think that he would be in consideration at this point of our conversation. So I would have to agree. Pascal Siakam is super love for, I don't know why. I mean, the biggest thing to me is he shot 25% from behind the arc. How are you supposed to be a franchise guy if you're not like putting it up every night? And in a league that's now transitioned to like 3-point shooting is the way, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you have to. I mean, obviously LeBron's not shooting the highest clip and he's the best, but like 24% just isn't going to do it, no matter where you are. If he was in like 50 to 60 range, I'd be like, yeah, Pascal Siakam, that's a ton of upside. He's great, but 24th. One ahead of Kyrie Irving. If I was Kyrie Irving and I saw this list, I would call every person I know at ESPN and just ask them what they were smoking when they did this collectively, because this is wild. In no regard would Pascal Siakam ever be ahead of Kyrie Irving in any kind of list. I don't care if it's best. I don't even care if it's best forwards. I'd still put Kyrie Irving over.
What conspiracy theory do you think that Kyrie would have came up with around ESPN saying that, just arguing that this wasn't true? I just imagine him saying something like, are y'all being real? Like, are y'all even real? Are y'all even real? Is there real people there?
I bet Kyrie would bring it along the lines of, Pascal Siakam is an evolved being. He's an alien, and ESPN is aware of this. And so they're conspiring to protect Pascal Siakam by pushing him into this spot of the ranking system.
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah, because I don't understand that. I'm pretty sure Kyrie's going to hit us exactly with what he told the media before he started getting fined, which was, I don't talk to pawns. So,
that's true. I saw that.
I'm sure that he's going to tweet it out at some point, like, I don't talk to pawns. And I'm sure, like, if I'm Kyrie and I saw that, and I already said that I'm not going to talk to you guys for whatever reason, and now I see that list, now I'm really not talking to y'all because this is disrespectful.
Yeah.
All right, let's run through the list. At 23, we have Karl Anthony Towns. he was ranked 18 last season. Here's my thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. I feel like this season is going to be really interesting. God bless him. Like, he went through just like a really traumatic year with the passing of his mom. And we all know like the roles that the parents play for players, especially if like they're going to every game and are being as supportive as his mom was. But then, you know, him dating like a celebrity to that extent, I think it could be a distracting season. And I feel like I already kind of saw him as like this soft center. I'm curious to see. I'm actually like really curious to watch him play this season.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a number of reasons why it's critical for him. One, you know, they kind of shuffle things around in Minnesota. The biggest thing for me is, you know, it's you kind of are making all these demands as a player, that organization, to make you happy. They side with you. They make you quote unquote happy. They do kind of your bidding, and now you kind of have to step up and deliver. And it's one of those things where I actually think Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the definitely deserving to be in the top 20 of this list. He's one of the best players in the league. Super young, can do it all. Plays, you know, can defend all 5 positions. Great on the pick and roll. Hits a high clip from the 3. Does all the things. But is he a teammate guy? Right? Like, I feel like we've yet to see him mesh with anyone that comes through Minnesota. I mean, him and the Jimmy Butler thing is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. But Denise, I mean, like, talk about a guy who's gone through adversity. He lost 7 family members to COVID. So talk about all sorts of motivation, right? You know, you have a lot to play for. You have a lot to, you know, basketball for a lot of us is like a sanctuary of place you go when things are hard to get rid of those thoughts, right? It's a place, your peaceful place. I think that everything lines up for Karl-Anthony Towns to absolutely take control of the NBA in terms of a sense of where his contract is, who he is in the position of all these players, and really solidify himself as a top 10 player this year. So hopefully he can step up and deliver on all his opportunity.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think he's definitely deserving of being in the top 20. He's one of the better bigs in the NBA. Like John said, like, he could do everything offensively. He can defend. Sometimes he gets a bad rep for not being, I guess, tough enough or banging in the paint as much as other bigs do. But to be honest, like, no bigs really are banging down in that post like that and having bruises on their arms and getting bloody noses and things like that. It's not the 90s anymore. Like, and I think a lot of people got to realize that that basketball has evolved, and it has, and everyone can play every position now. Mm-hmm. Like, if I never understood how people made it acceptable and they wanted guards to be able to post up smaller guards, but whenever bigs had the skill to be able to dribble and shoot and create a mismatch on the other end, they get criticized for it. So I never really understood that. He's definitely gonna have a chip on his shoulder this year and more motivation to play this year. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns, he's Dominican. His mom is Dominican. He passed away, and me, being Dominican myself, like, I know how much your mom contributes to your life. Like, Dominican mothers are super hands-on with their kids. So I know he's hurting a lot. So let's see how he just puts that out to the floor. He's getting to play with one of his best friends in the league, D'Angelo Russell. We maybe got to see them play twice last year together. So I'm excited to see that duo, man. I think they're going to be good.
Same. They'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Coming in at 22, we have Bradley Beal. He kind of stayed the same in the rankings. He was previously at 19. I love Bradley Beal, yo. I love that his style of game is just so cool and so underappreciated. And that's no surprise. He only has 2 years left in his contract. He just bought a mansion in LA. So I'm just like, all fingers crossed, because it would be nice to see him in a purple and gold uniform.
That's not out of the realm of possibility for sure. I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of obviously how like the cap adjusts and see kind of who the Lakers move forward with next year. But I think the best thing the Lakers do is they kind of sign these players on for these short-term deals so that they're super malleable in the offseason, and they kind of can always like plug and play anywhere they need to. So Bradley Beal had the best year of his best year of his career last year. Definitely worthy of all positioning of like top 20. I think they have him at 22. I mean, I think once we get into like this top 22 range, we can make an argument for every one of these players being here, minus a few of them. So I'm not mad at this. He could probably be a little higher. I think he's definitely one of the top players in the league and super versatile. I'm excited to see, him and Russ together, because that's always just basically Russ and anyone is always interesting to see how it unfolds, especially in crunch time. But I think Bradley Beal is such an amazing basketball player and such an unselfish player when he needs to be, that like I hope he doesn't concede to Russell in those moments.
Yeah. First of all, I don't understand how he was 19 last year and fell to 22 this year when he had a better year this year than last year.
Yeah.
So I don't get how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, ESPN was definitely on some crack right before they did this. Especially, yeah, I don't know what's going on. But I think he's gonna have. I don't think he's gonna have a better year than he had last year, because if he has a better year than he had last year, then we're talking all-time great MVP season at this point, because he averaged 30.6 rebounds and 6 assists last year. So if he could top that, now we're talking in a whole different other stratosphere of skill and NBA player. I think him and Russ, I think they're gonna do well together, just for the sense that like Russ everywhere, obviously other than Houston, that Houston offense and everything that goes on over there was super weird. But I think this is the first time Russ has gone somewhere or is playing with someone that he knows that he's gonna have to defer to, because I feel like Russ has that respect level for him. Like, this is your team. I saw what you did with them. So I'm just here to make sure that we win games and to aid you pretty much. So it's gonna be interesting to see Russ in that type of that type of mentality, playing with someone like Bradley Beal, someone that just came off their best season in the NBA. So I feel like they're both capable of averaging 25 together this year. I think they could pull that off this year. I think Bradley Beal will have an even better year, and I think the Wizards will make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too far. I love the way that Bradley Beal plays. I love that that his wife is from LA, and everything is just pointing to LA, bro. I'll leave it there.
She's gonna try and lure him in.
I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Coming in at 21, we have Jamal Murray, and man, was he so exciting to watch in the bubble. Like I feel like he made Denver exciting to watch in the bubble. He ranked 27 last season. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are saying that he's overrated because of his playoff performance, but I don't think so. I feel like he just tapped into a new level that he didn't even know that he could. So I feel like that's going to be his new baseline this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I would think the opposite. I have the opposite reaction, where it's like you're underrated if you come to the play. If your playoff performance is the best performance of your career. I mean, those numbers are staggering. He competed. He competed step by step with Dame. Like, that was wild. And then the next series, competing against Donovan Mitchell as well, step for step, who was also having a crazy bubble. The Denver-Utah series, one of my favorite series to watch throughout the entire bubble. That was amazing. I think that this is a great ranking for him. I think it gives him plenty of room to improve and grow and run up those rankings. So I'm not mad at this at all. I think he's right where he needs to be.
I feel like out of everybody that we've mentioned so far, I think he's the only person. He's at 21, right? Jamal Murray. I feel like he's the only person that, like, you hear at 21 is like, oh, I feel like he deserves that. I feel like that's just right.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I heard his name, I was like, all right, I'm not mad at that at all. Like, I have no arguments for it. He solidified himself in the playoffs, particularly as one of the better guards in the NBA. So it's just like Bradley Beal. Like, he had an amazing year, and now we're excited to see him going forward into the season. And now with Jamal Murray, he had an amazing playoff. So now let's see if he could carry that into the 72-game season and into the playoffs. I guess he's going to have now more of an extended role in the offense. Not that he didn't before, but now that you saw that he could go off for 50 whenever he wants, I feel like Mike Malone is just going to give him a little bit more freedom to create offensively with Jokic. So I'm excited to see Denver, man. I feel like they're going to be one of the more exciting teams to watch this year. And shit, who knows? Who knows how far they go this year?
This will be one of the most exciting teams. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. At 20, we have Paul George. It's just funny because I had seen the last meme of every quote that he said after he changed teams. But I don't mind his ranking at 20. He actually ranked 10 last season. I like Paul George, man. I'm not gonna argue with this one.
How you feel, John?
Oh, I mean, I still have an open wound from the Indiana abuse that he gave. So I'm probably not the best person to give an unbiased opinion. I definitely think that I can go back to my reasoning for being so high on Jamal Murray and give you the flip side of it. Is like, this dude no shows in the playoffs, arguably more than anyone else in the league. So for me, I would probably keep him out of the top 30, but that's just because, listen, if you're not going to show up and play when you're getting paid to, like, heavily, like, your paycheck is because of the playoffs. You got to win championships, and you arguably just disappear in the biggest moments of your career, and time again, nah, not for me. I think he's got to show up in the playoffs before I can put him in the top 20. That's for sure.
I like Paul George, man. Top 20. I feel like top 20 is right for him, considering that he's one of the better NBA players in all of the league. Like, someone that offensively he could do anything that you need him to do. Defensively, he could guard 1 through 4, I guess, depending on who the 4 is. He's an all NBA guy on both sides of the ball. So I'm not mad at him being in the top 20 as his playoff performances. I don't get what happens when it comes to the playoffs. I think it's more of a psychological issue with him. And that's something that, like, I guess we won't understand, and only he knows why that happens to him. But from going from Indiana, from John's team, from going from the Indiana Pacers and having those great playoff series that pushed the Miami Heat with the big 3 to 6 and 7 games in the playoffs, to then going to Oklahoma City and going ghost against Utah, and now with the Clippers, he went ghost against Denver in the playoffs. So now I think it's more of a mental thing with him. He said the other day that he's back with his trainer from his MVP season, which was his first year in OKC, I believe. And let's see how that goes for him, because now also, let's remember, he had 2 shoulder surgeries on both shoulders last year, so he didn't really get to practice with that team. So he kind of was behind while everybody else practiced on the team and got their chemistry together. Paul George was out of the loop with them because he had surgery over the summer and he couldn't really practice. So he had a full summer. He had a full season. I think this year is going to be his make or break year. He got a fucking crazy extension.
Make or break nothing. That dude he already made it. He ain't got to make or break shit. He already he ain't gonna do shit this year.
Yo,
but I feel like
$90 million.
He isn't gonna show. Why is he gonna try hard? Give me one reason why he's gonna try hard.
No,
he doesn't want to be called Pandemic P anymore. He doesn't want to be called that.
People don't forget, Denise.
People don't forget. It's gonna be interesting to see this year, because he saw everything. He noticed everything that everybody said. So I feel like this year, and when I say make or break, I think, like, just with the media and with the fans, not necessarily for him. He doesn't care. He's in the 9 figures. He's made well over 9 figures in his NBA career. He doesn't care. But, like, in terms of conversation wise and respect level from fans and the media, I think this year is going to be the year that's going to decide it for him. And if he's going to be a joke for the rest of his NBA career, or if he's going to make it up.
It's going to be an interesting one. Coming in under him at 19 is Zion Williamson. I know we talked about his weight last time and how he's been chowing down, but you know what? I don't think that I think that his weight is overrated in the conversation, and that's why he might be underestimated, because they're gonna think that he's distracted, that he's not focusing on his body, not focusing on his health, not focusing on his game. I'm not mad at this ranking. He was ranked 42 last season. But yeah, I don't mind this one.
Jimmy, go ahead. I'll finish this one off.
right. I'm not the biggest Zion fan. I've never been a big fan of his coming all the way from high school when I seen him torture little white kids in South Carolina. Um, I never really saw the skill level there that the media is trying to push on us, and the face that you could clearly see they're trying to make him the face of the league after LeBron leaves. You could clearly see it. Like he got the stimulus package from ESPN and everybody. You know, he got
He's
it.
also a super built dude for his age.
Yeah, for real. Like he's a man child.
Yeah.
So like him being 19, like
He must
I
be
don't know. Yeah, he must be Dominican, man. I don't know. He got fake
baseball type stuff on that one. If you feel
Yeah.
me.
No, I feel you.
Check that birth certificate.
Yeah, he definitely got some Dominican in him, man, because for sure he's not 20 years old or 21 years old. He might be 37. We haven't seen him and Vin Rames in the same room ever, so we don't know. Like, but I think that Zion just 19 is very high for him, just off the sense that he played maybe 27 games last year, 28 games. It's disrespectful to Ja, who played the whole season, was one game away from the playoffs, and he was ranked like in the 40s. I think Ja was ranked at, and Zion is at 19. And Zion, especially in those final 8 games that we saw in the bubble, like he was irrelevant, like he was non-existent for them. So like the fact that he's 19, it just shows that the media just put out that stimulus package, and all we're gonna see is Pelicans games on TV every day. The Pelicans could be 0-20, and there'll be talks of Zion all over the league, just cause.
You want to know why that is? It's because he's arguably the most captivating player in the NBA.
I agree.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Regardless, we all like most casual basketball fans are just trying to see somebody get dunked on. Like, and there's no one doing it better than Zion right now. For me, I definitely have a much stronger opinion on Zion. I think he is totally deserving of this ranking. I think that just to combat your point about Ja should be upset from this, I think the only reason why Ja won the title of Rookie of the Year is because he did play the full season. If Zion's healthy and plays that whole year, it's Zion walking away with it. And my biggest thing is, if you look at, would you have considered LeBron James an MVP candidate last year?
Hold on. Before I answer that, let me ask you this. Would you say that Zion would have won Rookie of the Year last year based off performance, or based off of the media just voting for him if he did anywhere near what Ja did last year?
Oh, my answer is off his performance.
Media.
And I think the media thing is something that we should talk about, because it's probably something we have a better opinion on than most, just from all of our backgrounds. However, I think that the reason why I asked you the LeBron James question is because LeBron was an MVP candidate and arguably, in my opinion, should have won. His player efficiency rating was 25. Mm-hmm. What do you think Zion's was? 24 as a rookie. So like for me, I'm not sure if you guys are like into like the metrics in terms of if you like really like care about them, or if you're just like more like into like points, rebounds, whatever. But like Zion, there's no doubting that when Zion enters the game, he is the best player on the floor, no matter who's in the game. And that's my opinion. I think he has a lot of room to improve, but as a rookie stepping into the league, your player efficiency is 24.1. You average over 20 points a game. Like he literally made all-stars look like little kids. He completely, in the Knicks game, I don't remember if it was like a preseason game or it was the first game, but what he did to Kevin Knox, he took Kevin Knox's soul.
Yeah, that was a preseason. No, that was summer league. That was summer league.
Now, obviously, you don't win a game off of doing that, but what I'm saying is the energy that Zion brings to the floor, and just everything he does, and all the second chance opportunities you get from Zion and his offensive capability. I don't think that he's overrated. I don't think he's overhyped. I do agree that the NBA looks at him as their vessel, but it's for good reason.
Yeah, like he's currently, I'll say, well, not currently because LeBron still plays and there's other players in the league, but Zion is one of the most polarizing players in the NBA. Like, regardless of what he does, whether it's good or bad, he's going to be in the media. And I hope that personality-wise and himself as a person hopefully he has it in him to be able to handle all of that. Because from what I've seen so far from like him, with the media and like how he handles interviews and things like that, he still is like a big kid. He's still like a child, and I don't think.
That's what I was about to say. Like, we also have, and something that I even forget too because of his size, like, this is a big kid playing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much potential. He obviously has the athleticism. Like John said, to echo his point, like, what were you going to say? I was going to say, like, he has, like, so much room for improvement. And we're not even seeing, like, a fraction of it right now.
He doesn't have a jump shot yet.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately doesn't have a jump shot yet. It still looks better than Giannis, in my opinion.
I agree.
And the stats, like the percentages show it's better than Giannis. But I mean, also on the flip side of that, ignorance is bliss, like irrational confidence. Like, I just don't think that he has it in him to be like, oh man, I'm going to be nervous today. I just think he's like, shit, I'm bigger than everyone. Get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Let's run through 18.
At 18, we have Donovan Mitchell. He ranked 20 last season.
He just got paid.
Say it again?
He just got paid too.
Yeah,
he did just get paid. But I think with Donovan Mitchell, what makes it interesting is there was so much talk about obviously the bubble incident and the stress you get when there's so much like internal conflict with your team. That you don't really get to see too much in the media. You know, fans really don't get to see too much of it. And it sucks because I'm actually a big fan of the way that he plays. I love the way that he takes leadership. I think that when it comes to the Jazz, at least for me, like, he's an exciting player to watch. I just don't know what this season is going to look like with some of the friction, and you want to talk about chip on your shoulder, and totally deserve, but this is someone who just like holds a grudge for a while.
I think he's super talented. I think he's deserving of this ranking. I think the biggest storyline for me in terms of this guy's career, and I think this is going to be the first year where the like everyone's really going to start seeing a peek behind the curtain is he a diva? Because from what I hear, what kind of like the small things you can read from time to time about him is he is a bit of a diva and is demands a lot out of the ownership, demands a lot out of the coach, and is constantly wanting his way. But on the flip side of that, I also hear that he's the hardest working person in that team by far. So he's going to be successful. He's going to be great. But it's like, are you going to be able to be cohesive long-term to win chips?
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell, the future Nick great.
Probably.
He's from Queens. His dad works for the Mets. So he's already orange and blue, man. So just hurry up and ask for a trade at some point with this contract and come to New York, man. I feel like we need you. We're going to need you in the next few years. But I like Don, man. For someone, I don't think people realize how short he actually is. Like the way he plays like he's like 6'6", but Donovan Mitchell's really like about 6'1" at most, maybe 6'2" on a good day. Wow. And he's super athletic. Yeah. He's strong as hell. He can shoot. Yeah, so like I feel like that Utah Jazz team is going to be super good this year. I feel like they're going to be really well. Like they're a deep team. They didn't change a lot this year. They kept almost the same players. So it's just another year of seasoning for them together. So I think Don is going to have another great year. I think he's going to average probably 25 this year, have a great year. Hopefully he plays up to his contract within the next 5 years, because you hate to see that. Like when young guys get paid and all of a sudden they just disappear. Like nobody likes to see that, man.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to play up to it. I definitely don't have that opinion about him that he wouldn't. I think that, one thing I did hear is, 5 days after they got booted from the bubble, he was already hitting up the staff to work out. Like he was trying to get in the gym 5 days later, and they were like, "Hey, take a fucking break so we can." So
that's great,
I definitely think he's gonna come back ready to cut some heads.
Thanks. At 17, we have Devin Booker. He ranked at 30 last season. I mean, listen, I'm just happy that I feel like it's finally starting to get the respect that he deserves. You love to see it. I think that him playing with Chris Paul is going to be super interesting. And the way that he studies the game, and obviously like he talks about like his conversations with Kobe. I feel like just having Chris Paul on your team and picking up from that kind of leadership is going to elevate his game in a really, really cool way.
Yeah, I think that I think if we have this conversation in a year from now, I think we'd be talking about him being in the top 10 would not surprise me at all. I think I think this could be an opportunity for him to take a leap into MVP candidate. I mean, if he plays like he did in the bubble, the guy went 30 points and 6 assists a game and was just killing everybody. Like 1-on-5 Michael Jordan shit. It was unreal. So I don't think he's gonna be able to translate that to all 82 games or I guess 72 games, if we get that. But man, I can't wait to watch him play. Not having to be a ball dominant guy, having an amazing point guard like Chris Paul setting everything up for him. He's gonna be scary. I think he's one of my favorite players to watch this year, probably.
Yeah, I agree with all that, man. I'm excited to watch Devin Booker this year. I think he's deserving of this ranking, especially of how his team went out in the bubble. It sucked that they won all 8 games and they couldn't make the playoffs, but I think that's just more motivation for him and the rest of the guys that were on that team this past season that didn't make it to the playoffs. But I'm a big fan of Devin Booker. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the presidents of the fan club already. So he's very like if you're into watching guys and technicalities and stuff and the way he plays the game, like you could tell that he works a lot on his skill set, like his footwork, the way he dribbles, the way he does certain things on the floor. Like just by watching him, you can tell like he cares about basketball and he wants to be great just by how he plays on the floor. So it's going to be interesting seeing him play with a Hall of Fame player now, because his whole career he's played with overseas guys. So yeah, it's been pretty bad for him his whole career there, but now he's playing with a Hall of Fame level guy. Let's see what he does with Chris Paul. That's going to be one of the top backcourts this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Next up, we have at 16 Ben Simmons. He ranked 15 last season, didn't move too much. I think I had so much potential set up for Ben Simmons. I think what he's lacking is just good leadership.
Agree.
I'm interested. I've said this before and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not the biggest Doc Rivers fan. I think I'll stick by it. I think he's overrated. But if he can position Ben Simmons to like play to the best of his ability, then my thoughts for Doc can get a little more positive. But yeah, I at 16, even then it feels a little too high. I just don't think he's been positioned well. I don't think he has good leadership around him.
Yeah, I think all of those things are so critical, and that's definitely going to be a big part of it. Obviously, Embiid's a bit of a loose cannon, so he's not going to be leading. I think the worst thing that organization did is let Jimmy Butler walk, and when they gave Tobias that big contract, that was easily one of the worst moves in the past 5 years. And yeah, I mean, I think everything you said is actually spot on. If he had a different surrounding, realistically, if he gets traded for James Harden, I think Ben Simmons is an MVP candidate as well. I think he could be in the top 10. I think he has all of those tools. Everything I hear from the people that are around him working him out is that his jump shot is there. Like he can hit the three. Like it's whether or not he chooses to make that they make that decision in game. But I think you're absolutely right, Denise. In this environment, it's probably not going to come together. In another case situation, probably could.
Yeah, I agree, man. I feel like it's all just leadership aspect. Maybe Doc Rivers will be able to bring something out of him that Brett Brown wasn't able to bring out of him. I was never a big fan of Brett Brown. I'm not a big fan of Doc Rivers as coaches, but maybe Doc Rivers has coached superstars. He has coached top level players. He's coached divas. He's coached them all. So now let's see how he can handle Ben Simmons, because I feel like Ben Simmons, he has the mechanics and the tools to be able to shoot a jump shot. Like when you saw him hit that 1-3, or when you see him in doing drills on social media, he doesn't have a bad form. Like he could shoot. I think it's just a mental thing, and just the coach being there telling him like, yo, let it go, man. Let it fly, man. Like we have other guys that'll be able to take care of everything else for you, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more so of a coaching thing with him, and he needs someone to be really strict with him. I think he's been babied
Mhm.
his whole basketball career, and coaches have let him do everything that he's always wanted to do.
That's a
So
good
I
point.
feel like once he gets a strict coach and someone there. Maybe it's a veteran leader in the locker room. Maybe it's a coach. Who knows? But he needs to be pushed by someone else other than himself because I think he's been babied and he's comfortable with where he is. And we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen what his full potential yet. And I'm not even talking jump shot wise. I'm just talking about as a complete basketball player. I think the right person can bring that out of him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Next at 15, we have Chris Paul. He ranked 32 in the rankings last season. I love Chris Paul. I absolutely love him. I'm super excited to see him with the Suns. You want to talk about, we talked about leadership. There's players that take 1-2 players under their wing. Like this guy takes teams under his wing, and he's been in the league for 15 years. I think that seeing the way that the Suns performed in the bubble this last season, I think that also like added a little more drive to the potential that the Suns have right now. So yeah, I'm not mad at the ranking. Could it have been a little higher? Sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking all things into consideration, age and where he's at this point of his career, this is probably a little too generous to him. However, I mean, definitely one of my favorite players of all time, so I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, he's my favorite point guard of all time. Like Chris Paul is amazing at his job. He does his job very well. He gets sometimes a little bit of flack from the media, but other than that, like I have no issue with his ranking. I feel like he's great at where he's at right now. I think people wrote him off last year with Oklahoma City, where he was. People thought his career was going to just rot away over there, and look how he turned that franchise around over there. Even if it was for that 1 year, and they had a Cinderella type run over there. I feel like with Phoenix now, I think this might have been what he needed. I feel like being there with Booker and Aiton and Mikal Bridges was really good, and the rest of the guys on that roster. I feel like this is the fountain of youth. This could be the fountain of youth for Chris Paul. Like
Yeah.
this could add a couple of more years to his career.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Up next, we have at 14, Joel Embiid. He ranked 8 last season. I don't know. This one's interesting because I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Joel Embiid fan. I think that this guy we just give him so much credit. And maybe it's because of the expectations. Maybe it's just because of the grit that he plays with. And sometimes it gives like old heads a taste of what basketball was. But I'm not a fan yet. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think he has one of those guys that could easily be one of the most dominant players, but I think that I think he thinks he's better than he is in moments that he doesn't understand, like clock awareness. Like he has no awareness for like clock and time of possession and like where you're at in the moment of a game. I think he tries to do too much when in moments where he probably shouldn't, or he just forces it too often, I feel like. And he's big enough so like he can bully people around, but I just don't think that he understands overall time and possession of a game and when to concede to someone else to help make the play easier for him the next time. But the ranking,
Yeah.
I'm not mad at.
Yeah, I like Joel, man. I think I might be the biggest Joel fan in this group here of us. I
For
think I might be the
sure.
biggest one. I like Joel, man. I think he could do a lot. I do agree with what John said. He doesn't have a lot of awareness and the things that he does on the court. But that also could play into him playing under Brett Brown. I feel like Brett Brown wasn't really that much of a coach there in Philadelphia. I feel like he was just more so there to develop those guys. And I think he was there 2 or 3 years too long. I think Brett Brown did way too many years in Philadelphia. He should have just developed that team. And as soon as those guys started scratching the surface of what they could become, they should have just let him go and brought somebody else there to groom those guys, because it's the same issue that there is with Ben Simmons, there is with Joel Embiid. I feel like it's a discipline thing, an awareness thing, and they need more motivation. Like, I don't think we've ever seen Joel Embiid in shape. I don't think Joel Embiid has ever been in shape in the NBA. And that can come from just like coaching staff and training and things like that. So I like Joel. Hopefully this year he's in better shape to play. I don't want to see him shoot as many threes as he does, even though he can knock them down when he's open. There's no reason for Joel Embiid to be on the 3-point line and shooting more than 3 threes a game. Joel Embiid should not shoot more than 3 threes a game. He should be in the paint, bullying everybody. He's the biggest center in the NBA. He's one of the most skilled players in the NBA, especially at his position. He needs to be utilized more within 10 feet. And if he comes anywhere out of those 10 feet, sit him down. You got to start coaching them like they're kids. Like, if you're not within 10 feet of this, if you want to do that and it's not in that play, you sit down. You got to start doing that to them. If you want to get the most out of those guys, you have to sometimes treat them that way.
Yeah, that's true. He just needs a little more discipline. At 13, we have Bam Adebayo. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I think that when it comes, there's few moments in the game, and whether you like basketball or not, and you can focus on the scoring, but I feel like Bam gives you so much more expression in his game than most players. Like, I'm a big fan. I can appreciate the ranking. Last season he was at 81. This season he makes 13.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of the best centers in the league. He's definitely the future of the Heat. Do I think he's better than Joel Embiid? I don't know. Would I rather him be on my team in a playoff game? Probably. So it's definitely not I don't think it's a bad rating. I'm not mad at it. It's definitely I guess it is where he should be. He's talented. He has immense upside, and he does everything you'd want your young player to do. Plays hurt probably when he shouldn't, and it can bully anyone in the league. So probably a pretty safe rating. Hopefully he can live up to it this year. It's a pretty big jump. I think it's one of the biggest jumps out of all the players this year.
Yeah, I think it might I'll also add one more thing. Like, when it comes to a player's improvement, I feel like his trajectory is a little more consistent. So going back to what you said, John, I'd want Bam on my team over Embiid.
Yeah.
I like Bam. I think this is, I don't know, like, if he's better than Joel Embiid at this point in his career. I'm not mad at the rankings, so I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. But I like Bam. He's one of the smartest players in the NBA. He has more awareness than Joel Embiid. I feel like he's very self-aware and just aware on the floor of everything that he can and can't do. He's a good team player. He knows where to be at what time and what not to do and where not to be on the floor. So I feel like this year is going to be a big jump for him. I think that he still needs to improve his mid-range jumper. He still has to improve that a little bit more. Not necessarily a 3. I don't think he needs a 3 just yet. I wouldn't be mad at seeing him shoot maybe 1 or 2 a game if he works on it, obviously. But like, I do think he needs to work a little bit more on the mid-range jumper, his floater game. But other than that, like, he could defend 1 through 5. Super athletic. He's smart, one of the smartest centers in the league. Like, I like Bam.
Yeah, no, I can agree more. After we have Jimmy Butler coming in at number 12. I think last season
this is all the playoffs.
Wait. Last season he came at 21. I think with Jimmy Butler it's interesting because it's so hard to gauge this last season. It's across the game, across the board. I'm sorry, it's hard to gauge this last season because it was such a unique season. But I think that with Jimmy Butler, something must have been like unlocked or untapped this season, because you can't be one of the most driven players in the game, make it all the way to the finals, and then lose. Like, there's some like weird psychotic motivation that I feel like only Jimmy Butler can unlock. Maybe it's a 3-point shot. I don't know. Like, there's something that he's tapping into this year, and I'm curious to see it.
What do you think, John?
I don't know, man. Jimmy Butler is. How can you not watch Jimmy Butler last year, specifically in the bubble, lead that team who a lot of people didn't think would make the playoffs into the finals? I mean, I'm talking about when the season started, like not many people had the Heat at the top of their list. The league, media-wise, had written off Jimmy Butler as a bad teammate. All of this. This guy said, "Fuck y'all, you don't know what you're talking about."
He stopped getting haircuts because he was so stressed.
Yeah.
Yes. He was stressed out, man.
He was living that bohemian life, and I'm not mad at it. Live it as long as you need to. You're balling out. I think I'm not mad at this rating. I think that he deserves this rating. Put some respect on this guy's name. Like, you brought that team from nowhere to the finals, and I would have to argue you're one of the best players in the league. If you can do that with that young talent, how do you not get a top 15, top 20 rating in any kind of context? So I'm happy with this. I think that, I would love to see them another year matured, and I can't wait to see these guys play the regular season, and hopefully they just keep getting better and better. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I think this is a deserving ranking for him, especially considering that he was 21 last year and now he's number 12. I feel like it's deserving, especially what he did in the bubble and in the playoffs to lead that team to where they are. He definitely put on the backpack and he became a leader. Well, I wouldn't say become a leader. He showed the leader that he can be with the system and the personnel around him. I think Jimmy Butler has the best situation culture-wise out of a team. I don't think he could have gone anywhere else and been able to do this. I think going to Miami was the best thing that he's done in his career. And while I was watching them last year, even though they lost to the Lakers in the finals, I was telling people, I think Miami is the best team in the league. Like, if we're looking at just team-wise, the way that team is built and constructed and the way they play, from coaching to players, I think Miami has the best schemes. I think everybody's committed to the coach. Everybody's committed to one another, and everybody plays hard. So Jimmy Butler put himself in the best situation possible. I don't know how they're gonna do. They lost a couple of players that I feel like were key for them last year, but I'm excited to see them, man. Everybody's writing them off again this year, but I think Miami's gonna be very good again this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We're almost approaching the top 10 ranking. At 11, we have Jason Tatum. He ranked 35 last season. I like this. I like this ranking. I think that there was, after the passing of Kobe, I feel like we definitely saw a new mentality for a lot of players, and Jason Tatum was one of them. So I think that, did he just sign a max deal too?
Yeah, he got paid.
Yeah, 195.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those players that's actually in the mindset of believing his worth. I think that we forget that he's not this kid anymore in the league. He's been bulking up. He put on some weight. He's more focused than we've seen him before. I'm not mad at this ranking.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is hard for me. I think if we're going off potential of what the season could have to show for him, I think this is a great rating for him. It could even be a little too high. I think it could be even lower on this list. I think he could definitely be in the top 5 guys. I think the next people we're going to talk about are all going to be MVP candidates, right? They're all in discussion. They all have the opportunity. It just depends on how the season unfolds and if they stay healthy and if they can, do the things they need to do to take the next step forward. I think out of most players in the league, he's got the biggest ability to take the biggest step forward and improve and show another level to his game. So not mad at his rating. I think I can't wait to watch him play also. It should be fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's right where he belongs at 11. I feel like Jason Tatum does have another level to tap into. He's very well, and I think every once in a while we see that potential of where he could potentially be amongst the greater NBA players in the league right now. But I'm not mad at it, man. That Celtics team, they're only going to go as far as he takes them. And I think this year is going to be the year that he puts the backpack on.
Yeah, that team's deep as hell too. They've got 95 guards on that roster. I don't think that they're going to. I don't think COVID's really going to affect them. I think they have a lot of depth. It's going to be interesting to see them navigate the Eastern Conference.
At 10, we have Jokic. I think that he, you know what? He was a player, I'll admit, that I thought was a lot of hype. But man, he proved me wrong in so many levels. Like, he's just such a clutch player to have on your team. He knows when to turn it on and off. I think that his player chemistry is super good, especially when, I don't know, I was selling him too short, but I actually like the way that he plays.
Yeah, he's the white Magic Johnson.
Like,
damn.
I'm not mad at that.
Denise, I legit fell in the same boat as you last year, and that's like I actually hate when I do that. I hate when I overlook things like that, and I think that it's too much hype, and then it proves me wrong. It's like, damn, how did I not see this?
Yeah, you almost feel like you missed a good season.
Completely. I mean, I watched a lot of his games last year, but I think leading into it, I was in the same boat where I was like, is this guy for real? Like, is this really, like, are they really, like, should they have traded Nurkic for this dude? Like, huh. And last year, he's like, yeah, that dude's one of the best players on the earth. So I'm all for White Magic.
Man, he was I was on the bandwagon earlier than both of y'all, I guess, because as soon as they traded away Nurkic to have him start, I started paying more attention to him because I thought Nurkic was really good. So the fact that they traded him to start Jokic, I was like, all right, I guess I got to start paying attention to him and see what he could do if they traded away Nurkic, because I feel like Nurkic could be, depending on obviously how well the team does, I feel like Nurkic could play. He could play in an All-Star game at some point, depending on how the Blazers do. But but Jokic, he's amazing, man. Like, he is one of the smartest players in the league. Like, he knows where you're supposed to be, and if you're not there, it's not like he's gonna bark at you for it, but he'll throw I think purposely Jokic throws a pass out of bounds on purpose to let you know, like, that's where you should be. Yeah, like, that's where you should be. Like, that this is not my fault. Like, I didn't throw that ball out of bounds by mistake. Like, you should be right there. So I think he's that good, and I think he's steps ahead on every play. I can't wait to see how Denver does this year.
Yeah, he's actually another one of those guys that I cannot wait. I haven't had the opportunity to. I really want to see him in person. I think that I think that will just be even more, just give me more just like, holy shit fandom for him. Yeah. So I pray that we can get to see some live games this year, and that's probably him in Denver, but I think him will be him specifically is the guy.
I still think that he has to get in shape. That's the one thing with him. I feel like he's lazy and he doesn't work on himself. Not his game. I feel like it's not his game. I think he doesn't work on himself. He looks like he's been eating like tamales in Denver or something.
Like his mom.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on in Denver, man, but they gotta get that man in shape, man. I feel like he could be so much better if he's in shape.
Yo, you want to talk about in shape? Number 9, James Harden.
Oh boy.
He popped in looking like Black Santa. I was like,
you guys see that that photo got Rick Ross trending on Twitter?
That's funny as hell.
Like, oh my God. Crazy.
So he ranks in at number 9 this season, ranked in at number 4 last season. I don't know, man. I don't know about James Harden. I just think he's let me use my words here.
Do you not like him as a player, or do you not like him as the person right now?
I don't like him as a player because I feel like the Rockets made him out to feel greater than he actually is. He's a good player.
I won an MVP.
Doesn't matter. I just feel like his player chemistry just ain't there for me.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Nah, I was just gonna say that. I just feel like the player chemistry just isn't there for me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, listen, again, I think that like when you make these lists, it really comes down to like how you set the parameters, right? Is like, is this a list of potential, who's going to have the potential best season of 2021, or is this who is the best today? And to me, best today, yeah, like that dude's top 5, and it's not even, you can't argue that in terms of talent. In terms of, another sample, a parameter you can put on this list is who is going to take their team to win. Who do you want to win your title? Who are you going to pick up to lead your team to a title? That's not James Harden. Like, that dude plays zero defense. He and I if I was on NBA 2K and my rating wasn't the same, if not higher than James Harden's, I'd be pissed. I'd be hot. I'd be calling Ronnie 2K and be like, yo, Ronnie, what's up with this rating? This shit ain't right. I'm better than James Harden in defense. And I'm only 5'9". Like, just to give context to the listener, like it's for me, I think talented player-wise, talented, yes. Leading your team to a championship, never going to happen unless he's the second or third option.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to see that as well. I like James. I like James Harden, man. I feel like he's one of those players, or one of the few players that we've seen in NBA history. You correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you know what he's going to do, and there's literally nothing you can do to stop it.
True.
He alters the step back in different ways. Like, he'll put it behind his back. He added a side step. He travels. He does different things to create a shot. But
yeah,
you know exactly what he's going to do, and there's literally nothing you can do to stop it. And he makes it every time. He's super skilled. Like, you could tell that he takes pride in his game. You could tell he does. Like, he doesn't care what anybody says about it. Like, oh, you do this, you do that, you flop. All you do is the same move. All you would do is draw fouls. Like, you could tell he takes pride in his game. It's like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, you know I do that, but you still can't stop it. I still average 35 points a game, and you're still gonna foul me. And I'm gonna stick my arm up, and you're still gonna foul me regardless. Team wise, I don't think he can be a number one guy. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see whatever happens to him within the next couple of days, since the season starts in a week. Who knows? He has a new coach. We haven't seen him play outside of D'Antoni in Houston. Like, we already know D'Antoni's system isn't made for championships. That's made for entertainment and TV ratings. That's D'Antoni's system. It's meant to sell tickets. It's not meant to win a championship. So now that James Harden has a new coach there, whether it's Steven Silas in Houston or whether he gets traded elsewhere, I want to see how he plays under a new regime. I want to see him play under an actual system and a coach is going to run different plays for him.
Yeah, and he's doing everything he can to not have to do that. Like,
yeah, for real. Like, he went to train in like Vegas and Atlanta while the Rockets were in Houston training. It's like, why are you away from the team in Atlanta and in Vegas, two places that have fucking liquor, drugs, and women all over the place, and that's where you are. Then you show up to the first preseason game with a gut. Like, you look insane. Like, James Harden looked insane. He looked like he was smuggling jerseys. It was wild.
He's fucking out of town trying to flip jerseys. You know what's interesting to me about that whole thing also is like, shit, if you want to be traded so bad, maybe make yourself tradable. Maybe you don't come in over 50 pounds. Maybe you come in shredded, looking like you're ready to be playing for a championship, as opposed to looking like some homeless man flipping jerseys in Chinatown. That ain't it.
For real, man.
Yeah. That was just such an interesting photo that went trending. But anyway, at 8 we have Stephen Curry. How can you not like Curry? It's one of those where this one obviously makes sense. Last season he was ranked at number 6. A lot of people are worried that, what are the Warriors going to do without Klay Thompson? But it's like, the Warriors have so much to work with. Like, you have Kelly Oubre, you have Andrew Wiggins, they got Wiseman, like, they still have Draymond, like, and you have Steph in there.
Wiggins too, who played amazing last year.
Yeah, he played great.
Like, amazing.
Hey, man, I'm one of the only Andrew Wiggins apologists in the world. Like, people call him a bust, and the man is a career 20-point scorer, and they call him a bust.
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
When you're on a losing team like that every year, though, like, that's kind of how it goes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people could put up 20 points on a team that doesn't win a game. You can get 15 real quick in junk time.
That's true. But Steph at number 8, I like it.
Steph's one of the best players we're ever going to see. Like, I know that for a fact. I'm never going to get to see in my lifetime Steph Curry, pound for pound. I put them up there with Allen Iverson, pound for pound. Like, this dude is like barely 6 foot tall, and is just embarrassing everyone.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to get in front of Steph Curry with or without a ball screen around. Like regardless, nobody wants to get in front of that man. I think I don't know. He's one of my favorite people to watch. I think he's definitely deserving of this ranking.
I'm not the biggest Steph fan, but as long as Steph performs, Steph needs to be in the top 10. He has to be there. Like he's that good. Maybe around the league, guys don't think he's top 10 because from what I've heard, like guys don't really like him around the league because of his arrogance and cockiness on the floor. A lot of them don't like him, but
you know what you can do to stop arrogance and cockiness? Be better. Be better.
Be better, bro.
You could get Rayford Austin to slap him in the back of the head like he did to Eddie House. Or you could do that.
I'm on board with that.
If Rayford Austin was still in the NBA and Steph shot a 3 and turned around before it went in, Rayford Austin will slap him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He will let him know. It'll be good for pay-per-view.
Yeah. It for sure will. Let's fly through these 7. After Curry, we have Damian Lillard at number 7. Last season, he ranked at number 9. I think everyone here on this chat loves Damian Lillard. It's crazy because as high as he takes his game, he figures out a way to take it even higher than next season, and you almost think it's like fucking impossible. Yeah. I love watching Damian Lillard play. In a perfect world, I see him playing on another team. But yeah, I don't mind this ranking.
I don't know. I think this team is built for him. I think this is the best team. I honestly do. Like CJ McCollum's a guy that if you're having a bad night in the position of Dame Lillard, if you're having a bad night, CJ can step in and put up 35, right? Like I think that's really hard to find in a league where, you know, you have superstars, but then you have people that like fade away at times. Paul George again, but like Dame has this team. Like I really feel like this is the best team that's like built for one specific player, outside of the Lakers and LeBron. But I think Dame is again one of the must-see players in the league. I think he's, again, you look at the playoff run that he had, he just got out, like their team just got outgunned, right? And it's unfortunate, but I think they did a little bit better this year with a few acquisitions. I think, you know, getting rid of Whiteside's not a big deal because obviously Nurkic is healthy again. So I love this team. I think that it's just, you know, it's one of those things where it's a few breaks fall your way. It's a different story. You're in the finals against LeBron, right? It's like, yeah. So I don't know. I think that this is a good team. I think it's just anyone that has to face LeBron James in the playoffs is just a tough position to be in. So yeah. I think that Dame is deserving of this ranking and definitely one of the top players in the league.
Yeah, just like Denise said, man, like just when you think he couldn't get any better or add anything to his game, he adds another 5 feet to his jump shot. So like he was, I was watching an interview of his, I forget on what platform it was, but he was mentioning like every offseason, what he does is practice on creating offense from further out, because I also don't understand why guys don't do that more often. It opens the floor more for everybody else, because if Dame is running a pick and roll from damn near half court, like it gives room to the other 3 guys spread out on the floor aside from the guy setting the screen. Like it gives you room to operate. So a Dame could shoot from 35 feet, or he could collapse the whole defense and get you open shots. So like he improves his game every year in that aspect of opening up the floor for his teammates. He ran into the boogeyman in Golden State for a few years. Like for 4 years, he ran into the boogeyman. He probably thought he was going to get away from them. Then LeBron showed up on the West Coast, and now pretty much it's like you have to run through him, and it's known. So it's a matter of, can Portland beat the Lakers? Because I feel like Portland has the talent on their team to be able to beat anybody, but I don't know if their system is smart enough to beat a team like the Lakers, because the Lakers have so many smart guys, and you have a guy like LeBron on that team that can pretty much dictate what you do on offense when he's on defense, because he knows your plays. So it's like it's just minor things like that. It becomes a game of chess. So I think Portland adding Robert Covington was great.
Yeah, it's the LeBron move, right?
Yeah,
like that's the move to help against LeBron.
Yeah, it's a guy there to defend him. Zach Collins is going to be healthy this year. Nurkic is going to be healthy. You have Carmelo for a full season. Carmelo could knock down open shots. He could step in, create a couple shots. If Dame and CJ are in foul trouble, you could throw Carmelo in the post and have him create a little bit of offense. Like, I think Simons on the Blazers, that kid is good.
Nasty.
That kid Anthony Simons is really fucking good, man. And Gary Trent, he improved a lot for them. So the Blazers did a good job of just grooming their young guys and adding veteran players. I think the Blazers are going to be one of the top teams in the league this year.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. At 6, we have KD. He wasn't ranked last season because of his injury. I'm excited. I'm not mad at this ranking. So I'll start off by saying that I'm not mad at this ranking. I feel like it's obvious that KD is a powerful two-way force. I feel like him playing next to Kyrie is assuming like within the team, like they avoid any like chemistry road bumps. I don't know. I just think together, like they can actually contend for a title. So I'm not mad at the ranking. I feel like if a player is going to come back from not being ranked because of an injury, very few make sense with that call, but KD is one of them.
What you think, John?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like he's that guy, right? Like I just hope that he stays healthy.
Yeah.
For me, it's one of the best scorers we've ever seen. So I just hope he stays healthy, to be honest.
I think Kevin Durant is the best scorer to ever play basketball. I don't think it's close. Michael Jordan included. People could get mad if they want. I think Kevin Durant is the best scorer we've ever seen touch a basketball. I think this ranking is accurate for him, considering that he hasn't played in a long time. It's going to be interesting to see him play through this Achilles injury. A lot of people never make it back to play how they were before. So it's going to be interesting to see him come back from this injury. Other than Kobe Bryant, who was on the back end of his career when he tore his Achilles, like this, and he wasn't, I guess, in his prime, you can say. Kevin Durant was in the middle of his prime when he tore it. So I guess Kevin Durant is going to be the poster child of the Achilles injury, because no one of this stature has ever gotten that injury and have been able to recover. So I guess we're going to see it this year to see if he could change that narrative behind that injury and how he does with the Nets this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy because to be out for 18 months.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And the drive that you have to have, you have to be realistic. So he's going to be interesting to see. We're finally at the top 5. We have at number 5, Kawhi Leonard. He ranked 2 last season. I think this season, Kawhi is finally going to have that weird dark cloud after he came to LA, after he left Toronto. There was just like a weird energy around him. And I feel like this season we're going to see Kawhi play the way that we expect him to play, and maybe even a little higher.
Yeah, I think that he's arguably easily top 5, arguably top period, just arguably the best player in the league when he plays. He's definitely one of those players that has control over the GM and can pick and choose what nights he shows up and puts his sneakers on and plays. So it's like, in terms of who's the best player in the league, yeah, he's definitely up there as top 5, not a question. Just hopefully they don't blow it in the playoffs again. And it's because you can obviously see like he needs that team. He needs role players to show up, because he can't, and no one really can. No one can carry the team the entire playoff series. So I'm good with this ranking. I hope that the Clippers did enough to improve their team to give him a little relief throughout stretches of the playoff games, that he can do his thing in the fourth quarter.
I think Kawhi is great. I think the ranking is appropriate for him. I think this is going to be the first time in his career that he's not going to be a media darling. I think this is going to be the first time, considering like how bad the Clippers went out last year and all like the negative press that has come out from the Clippers locker room, just from the sense of like how how they have preferential treatment for Kawhi, preferential treatment for Paul George, how players there aren't happy with that, and how the coaches treat them, the GMs, all that kind of stuff, and like how they allow Kawhi to live in San Diego and have to fly to games, and sometimes they can't start practice without him, or it's just weird little things like that. So I think this is going to be the first year that Kawhi is not going to be a favorite in the media. So he's kind of going to be a villain in the NBA this year. So I'm excited to see that.
Same.
At 4, we have Luka Doncic. He was ranked 16 last season. Yo, this guy's like a superstar. Like, you watch him play, your mouth is just like how, bro? Like, how are you 21? How are you that ahead? The way that he raised his game in the bubble and he hit that legendary shot in the playoffs. I don't know. He makes basketball even more inspiring than I knew it was possible. I don't mind it. He's definitely top 5 for me.
Same. I mean, if he's he's one of those guys as well. I was like, can't wait to see him live. There's the way he has control of the speed of the game is crazy. Like, that's something that is next level. If you can completely control the pace of the game on both ends of the floor, that's the kind of stuff to me that's like just mesmerizing. It does it all: rebounds, passes, can score when you need a bucket, can score on 3 people when you need a tough bucket, drives, hits the 3, hits the mid-range, hits free throws. Like, this is gonna be one of the most entertaining players we watch for the next 10, 20 years. Hopefully he stays healthy. But, he's not like a Zion risk where, you there's so much potential for him to get hurt because Luka just like plays at his own speed.
Yeah.
In the opposite sense, where it doesn't look like it's so much pressure on his body and torque and explosion. It's just like, yeah, I have control of you. Just, this is what it is. I'm going to put this up now. Thanks. Goodbye. Like, it's just very easy to him. It's effortless.
I'll also add one thing. I think I read somewhere that he made, and you reminded me of this, John, saying like he's going to be interesting to watch for the next 15, 20 years. Like, the last time a player like that was that exciting, a lot of people would say is LeBron. But not even LeBron made, was it the All-NBA first team on his second year or something like that? Don't quote me, but LeBron didn't even do that. So, yeah, I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, man, like he's different. The NBA is going to be in good hands with whoever they want to pass the torch to, on who they want to be the face of it, whether they decide it's Luka, whether they decided Zion, Jason Tatum, whatever direction they decide to go in after the current superstars go out or when they're going out. Luka controls the entire game. When he's out on the floor for Dallas, the other team is pretty much at their mercy the entire game. Like, he's that good. He's one of the few European players that has come into the league and been able to translate that narrative of playing professional young, because there was a stigma behind guys playing overseas young at an early age and developing too fast. And then when they get to the NBA, it's like, well, I think we saw what we had to see from them overseas. So I think Luka is one of the few players to exceed that he got to the NBA and got progressively better. And you could see what the hype was about. He is that good. And I think next year when we have this conversation, Luka's going to be number 1 on this list.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think he'll be number 1 on it.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 3, you guys' favorite, Giannis. He was ranked number 1 last season. I mean, he's rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's rich. I don't know, man. I feel like there's so much faith put on Giannis, and maybe it's just we have. For me, I haven't been wowed by it. I don't know what he was ranked number 1 last season, ranked number 3 this season. Didn't fall too far off.
I
Just
mean,
signed a 5-year max deal.
yeah. I mean, last year he won the MVP, so you could argue that they got it right. You know what I'm saying?
I guess
they
yeah.
didn't win a championship. They didn't win a championship, so you could also argue that they were wrong. But I mean, he's a freak. He's an evolutionary human being. He you know, it's like you don't find people that are that tall, that have that big of a wingspan, and can hit a jump shot. Like that's just, he has so much God-given gifts. Yeah, athleticism, but also just like height. I mean, shit, the guy's 7 foot tall, like, and can dribble and can go around the floor. Like, I definitely think he's worthy of top 3 for sure. I think that I think they need more pieces in Milwaukee to get it done. I think Drew Holiday is going to be amazing for them. I think it's going to be great for him, and I think that it'll be interesting to see them play this year. I think having one more perimeter shooter that can hit the 3 to open up the paint would have been super good for him. But I'm not mad at this. I think that it's spot on.
I think he's too high. I don't think he should be there, man. I think he should be like top like 13 or some shit like that. I don't think someone that you can't give the ball to with 2 minutes left in the game to take over again. Not even 2 minutes, with 5 minutes in the game. You can't give the ball to and depend on him. You have to depend on the next overrated guy on the team, Chris Middleton. You have to depend on him to be able to do that. So like, I can understand why Giannis is hyped. Like I get it. Like the athleticism, the height, the speed, the strength, everything that he does on the floor. And he's limited offensively, and he can do all those things. I get that. But to me, it just looks like he doesn't work on his game much. Like it looks like he goes into an open gym and practices dunks. Like he just does fast break drills and just dunks the ball on every drill that he can. Just the other day, the first preseason game, the Bucks first preseason game, Giannis tried to prove a point with the first shot of the game. He shot a pull-up 3 and he shot an air ball. So it's like one of those things. It's like I see the intention there, but I don't know if the confidence is there. Like I can see what you're trying to do, but mentally it's not there yet. Like you're trying to prove a point that's not there. So I don't know.
Confidence that shows the confidence is there, but the execution isn't.
Yeah, you could word it that way. Like just to see that the very first shot, you could tell he paid attention to what people were saying about him not being able to shoot. He shot an air ball right out the gate. Like that's how you're going to start the regular season. Like you're proving everybody right. So I think that yeah, for real, man. Like it's like one of those things. Like I think Giannis is going to be one of those. He had a great year, but I think Giannis is going to be one of those guys that people are going to be like, damn, we should have given the MVP to somebody else. Like down the line, I feel like that conversation is going to come up and be like, I think somebody else could have gotten that. Kind of like the same way that like when Steve Nash got it, like people came out like, oh, maybe somebody else should have gotten it that year. When Dirk got it, people were like, oh, maybe somebody else could have got it that year. It turned. I feel like Giannis is going to turn into one of those guys that people are going to look at and be like, we could have had somebody else win it that year. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll see how the Bucks do this year.
Coming in at number 2 and number 1, I'm just going to combine them because they're in the best team. At number 2, you got AD. At number 1, you got LeBron. I'm not mad at it. I'm actually very happy with this. I don't got much to say, but unless anybody wants to argue, it would make no sense.
I feel like I feel like at this point it's appropriate for both players. I feel like personally LeBron could be number 1 every year on these lists, depending on like how they want to rank it or whatever they want to do. He could be number 1 every year. I feel like Anthony Davis is well deserving of number 2 just from everything that he did last year. He wasn't really hurt. I think it was his healthiest year this past season. A couple times in the playoffs, he scared the hell out of everybody, like grabbing his Achilles and grabbing his foot and his finger and all those kind of things. But he overcame those. But Anthony Davis proved that he is, I guess you could say, the second best player in the world, man. Like he could pass, dribble, shoot. He defends 1 through 5. He could create offense for himself, for other players. And I feel like this year, especially with the signing of Montrez and having Marc Gasol there, I feel like it's going to unlock a whole new different level to Anthony Davis because now he really doesn't have to play the five. He
Mhm.
could really just be a mismatch for everyone on the floor now in every single possession. So I feel like he's well deserving of number 2, and LeBron is of number 1.
I mean, I think it's hard because you have LeBron on the same team, so it really does kind of cast that shadow, and he doesn't have to do as much as what he had to do when he was maybe playing with the Pelicans or, in a different situation. But I definitely think he's top 3 in terms of, what he can do on the court. It's hard for me to kind of to take someone like him over a Kevin Durant or over a Kawhi Leonard, who are the guy you go to carry the load, but also
I can see that.
It's like, and not saying that Anthony Davis can't do those things or hasn't done those things at times. I just think that he hasn't had to recently. And the times that he did have to, they never made the fucking playoffs.
That's so, yeah.
Like, that's kind of, to me, it's hard. Like, it contradicts itself in a sense. The fact that he's on the Lakers and he has the best facilitator in the league on his team, that helps. I mean,
that's
a lot.
I would just add to that. I think maybe he came in at number 2 because of how well the Lakers played with him, and like what he contributed to the team. I think that I would think it's that. I don't even think at that point, maybe it came in, maybe it was too close in like ranking him with individual players and they had to add like different attributes from other things. And maybe it's just like how well he made the team, how much better he made the team that pushed him up to number 2. It could also be because it also says here that it was the first time in 10-year history that teammates finished 1 and 2. So it could just be like, it literally could just be ESPN saying like, yo, let's just break history, a 10-year history run.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do that with Steph and KD when they were on the Warriors. I'm surprised they didn't do that with them.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking, that they didn't do that.
They're probably, LeBron was probably number 1, so that's probably why, right?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
There is that guy named LeBron.
So that just about does the list.
Yeah,
all
man.
100.
Shit, man.
I think that you're in a good position as a Laker fan. I mean, shit. You guys have a right few years ahead of you.
Damn right I do. That's why I'm like, I can't wait to come back and play. And it's so funny because my friends and I bought season tickets last season. We've had it for the last 3 years and we just like split it up. And it was the first time in a long time, like first time in 11 years that we missed an opener.
Oh, that's weird.
Crazy.
That sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's a pandemic.
Pandemic P is back in the Staples Center. But if you guys want to get into your predictions for this coming season, the season starts next week. So I guess I could kick off my awards predictions of who I think is going to win the awards this coming season. I got for most improved player, I got Michael Porter Jr. I feel like Michael Porter Jr. is going to take a huge leap this year for Denver, become their third guy on offense and become the mismatch that they needed with other teams. Defensive player of the year, I feel like the league is going to get it right this year. They're going to give it to Anthony Davis. He should have got it last year. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. They give Giannis defensive player of the year and MVP last year. Like, that was the first time since Hakeem Olajuwon that they did that.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Wait,
Talk
was
about
it
hype
Olajuwon?
machine. Talk about hype machine. NBA hype machine is Giannis is on that NBA hype machine. He's getting NBA hype more than anyone, I feel like.
No, I agree. Yeah, he got the international stimulus package for real. Yeah, he definitely got that one. So defensive player of the year, I feel like Anthony Davis will get it this year. Coach of the year, I think Mike Malone from Denver is going to get it this year. I feel like Denver, I think Denver might end up with the best record in the Western Conference this year. I think they end up getting it. I think that team is good enough to be able to pull that off this year. The Lakers aren't really focused on having the number 1 seed. At least LeBron isn't. LeBron doesn't care about that shit. Look, he went to the finals with the Cavaliers with like a 5 seed, so he don't care about what seed he's in. Rookie of the year, I'm gonna have to be biased here and say Obi Toppin for the Knicks. I feel like I feel like Obi Toppin's gonna get it this year, man. I gotta be biased somehow. I gotta throw my Knicks shit in there some way, somehow. If he does start, obviously, if he does start and he does have the freedom to be able to do the things that he can do, I feel like Obi can win Rookie of the Year. And for MVP, I got Luka. I think Luka is going to be the MVP of the league this year, regardless of what seeding the Mavericks end up getting. I feel like Luka's going to get it, man. That he averaged 29, 9-9 last year as his second year in the league, and it's crazy to think that he can get better than that. Yeah. And I feel like this year he will get better, but maybe not numbers wise. I feel like maybe just decision making wise, and just his overall awareness on the floor. I feel like he's going to improve those things. So that's my pick for MVP this year. Oh, and for six man, I don't know, man. For six man, I don't know who to pick this year for six man. Because I feel Schroeder. I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know what they're going to do with him. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with Lou Will and with the Clippers. I don't know if he's going to start because I don't know if they're going to bring Luke Kennard off the bench. I wouldn't start Luke Kennard over Lou Williams. I wouldn't do that.
Pretty outspoken that he's not going to come off the bench. He said, "I've done that." He's like, "I've been that guy. I'm not coming to LA to come off the bench." And that was a pretty. I mean, and I think with the loss of Rondo, like you're going to start Caruso over Schroeder. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No disrespect to Caruso. I think he's a good ball player.
And this is kind of like assuming they break out of the West, but Jordan Clarkson
for Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go off the top of the head right here. Sixth man of the year. Let's do this. Carmelo Anthony. Let's do this.
God,
Sixth man of the year. Carmelo Anthony. That will be the craziest storyline in NBA history.
That's not coming out of nowhere. That's coming out of your heart.
Yes.
That's the most New York thing you could have said today.
Carmelo Anthony, sixth man of the year. Book that. I'm going to put that on the shirt. Let's do it.
If you would have finished that sentence with dead ass, that would have been the most New York comment you could ever do. I no offense, Jimmy. I don't agree with you there. I don't think it's going to happen. Denise, who do you think? Who do you think is going to be most improved? Who do you think is going to be coach? Who do you think is going to be MVP, rookie of the year, etc.?
I think. All right. So for most improved player, I think I'm going to go to the Nuggets, and I'll go with Michael Porter Jr. So wait, you want me to list all of them?
No. Just kind of go through and if you can, whoever you want to talk on, whatever you feel like talk on. Yeah.
So I think. Sorry, I got a little chilly. I think that Michael Porter Jr. He's coming off his rookie season, and he produced like some really good numbers. He fell a little short, I think, of what he's capable of, but I'm kind of excited to see how his improvement's going to be this year. So I'm going with him there. For rookie of the year, is the only time I'll give it to the Knicks. I'll give it to the Knicks, and I'll agree with you there, Jimmy. I just think Obi's going to be interesting, and he could honestly in the next.
You see the vibe? You see the vibe, John?
I think in the next, in under a decade, we can see some pivots in the Knicks. I think that I don't know. It won't be the laughing stock that it is right now. I think
Amari Stoudemire.
Say that again.
Obi Toppin is the next Amari Stoudemire. He has the same build, same game.
Like in that uniform and plays just like him. It's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
For defensive player, I'll go with AD. And then for MVP, I'm gonna switch. For MVP, I'll go with Damian Lillard.
Ooh,
I
that
like
was
it.
my second. That was my second choice. That was
Yeah,
my second choice.
he deserves it.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's not gonna take it up a notch. So kind of just
Yeah.
like
And I
take
think
that.
there's one big part to that, and why I think you're going to be right. And I'll just piggyback into it. I'm also going to have Dame as my MVP as well, is because Luka has a lot of time left to get that
Mhm.
award,
He
and I
does.
feel like they kind of make people wait sometimes, right?
I
Like
can
there are
see that.
years like certain people deserve it, but like, oh well, this person's been like in the wings for a little bit longer, kind of thing. So I could see Dame getting it. I think the interesting part of that is, my other thought would have been KD. But the reason why I didn't go KD is just because Kyrie's going to be there, and we all know Kyrie's going to take a lot of that shine, specifically in the fourth quarter and all that. So I think Dame's the one. I think he's going to.
What's crazy? I didn't go with KD because I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it won't be the case, that he'll have an injury-free season and he'll have like the comeback tour that he deserves. But damn, like I don't know if I'm being over optimistic in thinking that. So that's why for me, Dame was like the best bet. What am I missing?
Coach.
6-man.
6-man and coach of the year.
I'll go with Schroeder on 6-man. And then for coach of the year,
Doc Rivers.
a joke. No.
Glenn Rivers.
I'll go with Brad Stevens, man. I feel like the Celtics are in a really interesting position, and I think that I've always loved Brad Stevens' coaching style. I've always, I think like his basketball IQ is unique in the way that he can relate to a player, but also like be able to give you an outsider's perspective, give you a mentorship ability. I don't know. I'm going to go with Brad Stevens for coach of the year.
All right. I'm going to go with Steve. Nah, I'm between Steve Nash and Spoelstra. I think Steve Nash just because they're going to win a lot of games no matter who's coaching that team. But I'm going to go Spoelstra because I think they're going to run it back. I think the Heat are going to run it back. I think that they still have a lot to prove. Obviously, they made it to the
You
finals.
think the Heat are going to go back to the finals out the East?
I do. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad at that, man. I
do. I mean, I think they had like everything it takes. Like those guys don't take nights off. Are you going to sit here and tell me that Kyrie Irving doesn't take nights off? Like, I mean, I love Kyrie Irving. He's one of my favorite players to watch, but I'm not going to I don't gamble on Kyrie Irving games because you don't know when the fuck he's going to show up.
That's true.
But the Heat, when they're going to, they show up every night and they go at it. Like Jimmy Butler doesn't expect, won't accept anything else. So I'm going to go with Spoelstra. I think they're going to run it back out of the East. I think for most improved, I cannot argue. I think Michael Porter Jr. is a great player. They let Jeremiah Grant walk. They let Plumlee walk. So again, to free up more playing time in the rotation, he definitely, showed his stripes in the bubble. And I think that just like is the tip of the iceberg. That guy, I mean, was the number one player in his class coming out of high school. He's an absolute freak. So yeah, MPJ I think is going to be most improved. Rookie of the year, I'm going to go. There's two ways my mind goes on this. If I'm saying like who do I really think is going to be, I think it's going to be Bol out of Denver.
That's interesting.
He didn't play enough games last year to register as a rookie, so he's allowed to compete this year again. And it goes back to the point that they let Plumlee walk, allowing Bol to get that time off the bench, potentially earn himself some starting minutes. I could definitely I don't know. I think Bol does it. I could be super wrong, but
you just made me realize. Sorry, Jimmy. I forgot about Wiseman. For
rookie of the year.
Yeah. And I think that because I think he could benefit from just being around Steph, and his presence can have like an impact on his game. But yeah, I'm pretty neck and neck with.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see Anthony Edwards' role as well in Minnesota. So I think the D'Angelo Russell part of it kind of hurts Anthony Edwards' opportunity, but you never know. He could, if D'Lo goes down, Anthony Edwards would have an easy look at it. And then because of the hype train, because of all of apparently Southern California who thinks LaMelo Ball is Jesus Christ walking, like he's gonna have a ton of votes in whatever, he's going to have a ton. I think he's a part of that NBA hype wagon as well. Defense player of the year. Man, AD. If it's not AD, it's Kawhi for me. But again, it's not going to be Kawhi because he's not going to play enough games for anyone to take him seriously in the consideration.
Well, now the league is finding people. I think $50,000 or $100,000 if you set out nationally televised games. So I want to see how the Clippers. I want to see how they handle that because they might just set them out local games.
Ballmer's pockets are so deep, he doesn't give a shit. He'll pay that. Ballmer wants a ring. He doesn't care. He'll pay all that shit.
Ballmer, Steve Ballmer's going to send a check to the NBA for all the games that he knows Kawhi's going to sit. But like, yo, I'm going to send y'all like $500,000 because I know he's going to sit these games out. So whatever you guys don't need, just send it back to me.
Yeah. Here's a deposit. Did I miss? Who did I miss? Most improved? No, I did that. Did I get everyone?
Did you do MVP?
No, you haven't done MVP yet, and you haven't done sixth man.
Yeah. Sixth man and MVP.
MVP.
You said you were going to go with Dame, though.
Yeah, it's Dame. And I literally the whole time I was saying that to myself, I was like, is it going to be KD? But no, I'm going to stick with Dame. Like, that dude I think he has all the opportunity. I think he's paid his dues, per se, whatever. So I think it's him. Sixth man. Oh, I got you. Whoever comes off the bench for the Nets between Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie. Whichever one of those two come off the bench.
Dinwiddie could make sense for me.
Bro, Dinwiddie's nasty. He would be the start.
Nice.
He would be the 1 or 2 option on any other team in the league.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie is nasty. So I think that between one of those two, whoever comes off the bench for those guys is going to have a huge opportunity to carry the load. And Kyrie's going to go down at some point during the year. So it's like he'll have a ton of opportunity.
Yeah, Kyrie's going to have like a migraine or some shit and have to sit out like 7 games. It's going to be weird.
Man, it's the aliens. There's that in his brain.
It's the monolith in Utah. It's affecting his brain waves.
It's the monolith for sure.
Before we get out of here, do you guys have like any hot takes for the season? Like anything that's like out of the ordinary you think will happen this year?
I don't right now. I think I'll probably have more to come in the next few weeks for sure, but nothing right now.
Because I got a couple here, man. I don't think the Nets or the Bucks are coming out the East. I don't think it's going to be either of them.
I agree.
I don't think the Rockets make the playoffs.
I agree. If James Harden walks, there's no chance.
Yeah, and even with James Harden there, I don't feel like James Harden's going to be there all mentally. I feel like he's going to be. I think he's going to be in Magic City mentally. So I don't know what's going to happen. Steve Nash is probably going to be the best dressed coach in the league. He might be in the league fits. In the league fits top 10 just being dressed. Steve Nash is a coach.
I don't think you understand how league fits works. That dude has like what is that like terrible like custom suit company called? It's like Batoni or some shit. It's an online custom suit ordering thing, and like you give your measurements like digitally. Nah, that shit ain't it. He's ordering like paper fabrics, and they're just cutting them short. And in America, if you like wear a short trouser on a suit, people think you have taste. No, that shit ain't it.
He's on a budget. Maybe he's balling on a budget.
That guy's getting sponsored. He's the face of Tony, whatever the fuck the brand is. He is the face. He's on their Instagram. He's doing sponsored posts. No, that ain't it, man. I disagree.
He's an influencer. He's a first influencer coach.
Yeah, but
maybe he'll do some TikToks at halftime.
Hey yo. All right, y'all. It's been real. This is 3 the Hard Way, episode 1. It's been great talking to y'all about this. See y'all again next week. Signing out. Peace.
Peace.
Appreciate you. Later.